Hello, and welcome back for another episode of the Resting Stitch Face podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Harding, along with
Dr. Erin Sheffield.
Welcome
back to another episode. So today we are going to talk about permission. Permission for yourself as a doctor or high-achieving person to take care of yourself and not just everyone else.
Which is really hard to do.
It's so hard to do.
Yes.
Let's unpack this. So I was inspired by this. I broke my back last week, which sounds very dramatic.
And it kind of is.
It kind of is. I slipped down the stairs in slippery socks on my old historic slippery floor on the way to work and fell and landed straight on my flank and my spine. And man, that was terrible.
Right?
It's like writhing and crawling and like screaming in pain. And luckily all my kids were gone because I think they would have been kind of freaked out.
Mortified.
And then I was like blacking out. And the only reason I didn't pass out because I was like laying down and it just wasn't passing. And then I'm like trying to puke my guts out in the toilet, but I hadn't eaten, so there was nothing to give. And then my house, when it rains, it pours, and it pours inside. I've got a leak inside my house right now, dumping like a bowl full of water. Like it'll be like a full bowl full of water. And so that's why I'd gone back up the stairs to get some towels to try to mop up this seeping mess before I'm on my way to work. I'm already running late, and to get the bucket to kind of catch everything. And that's when I slipped. And so I'm like rolling on the ground, trying to get towels and stuff taped up to the wall to capture this water while I'm trying to get into work on time. And I finally am like, okay, I think I'm okay. I'd start driving to work, and then I'm like, I'm going to puke. I'm going to throw up. And I'm a legendary fainter, so I knew that meant that I was like maybe going to go vasovagal. And so then I'm having this, what do I do? I'm like a minute from work. Can I make it? Will I be able to tell if I'm going to black out, or do I need to pull over into this next parking lot? And I probably made the bad choice and continued on and made it. My nurse checked me out and, okay, we seem like we're okay. And let's just give me 5 minutes and then we'll see if I should go in and start the IV on the first patient.
Oh my gosh.
Then next thing you know, I'm laying on the ground because again, I think I'm going to pass out and I'm going to throw up. And she comes out. So do you think I should start the IV? Doesn't look like we are starting IV. And I'm like, you're probably
good for her.
And here I am still like, maybe I can make it.
Maybe I can do it. Maybe.
So
I think it'll be fine.
I go in and do the consult, and I just tell him, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not safe to do this. We'll do just the consult. I usually do same day screen extract for a lot of my cases. So we'll do the consult, do the screening. Meanwhile, I'm like sitting down halfway through, I'm like barely making it through. So then we're like, okay, let's go to either the ER or the acute care clinic, and can someone drive me? And so then I go in and I get a bunch of x-rays. I get a CT scan with contrast. My first time, that was fun. Have you had that before? You've had it, yeah?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because I know I've had contrast before, but I can't remember if it was for an MRI or if it was for a CT scan.
Yeah.
Maybe it was for both. I don't know, but you do. You feel like
I
you're
love
peeing your pants.
being on the patient side. Yeah, she says, you're going to get really warm, and then it's going to feel like you peed your pants, but I promise you did it. And I'm like, what the heck does that mean? How would I feel like I peed my pants if I did it? And then I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
It's really warm down there just all of a sudden.
Yeah. And in the distribution of if I had peed my pants.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure I didn't pee my pants? And she's like, don't move. And you're like, I can't because I think I just peed my pants.
Because it feels like you are. Don't freak out. Just hold still. So then turns out I fractured. He told me L1 through 3. It turns out it was L1 through 4, the transverse process. So that's the best possible way I've been told to break your back if you have to break your back. So
good job.
Thankfully for that.
Yeah, always the
overachiever. But then I'm waiting for someone to come pick me up. My staff to drop me off, so I need him to come pick me up. And meanwhile, I'm texting Sarah. What did I even say?
You were like, I'm going back to clinic, but do you think it's okay if I just take the afternoon off? They'll have to cancel patients. And I'm like, yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. And I was like, but I understand, right? Because people get frustrated and people get really mad. But if you push through that day, like.
So I call my nurse and I say, hey, turns out it looks like I broke my back. Maybe we should cancel clinic, I said with a question in my voice. She's like, basically, girl, we already did.
Yeah.
We're done for the day. So thankfully, some of the people in my life had better judgment, but it's been like wearing on my mind. Like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me that was such a hard decision to make, that was even a question? And then I went home and I was still feeling guilty.
Right.
Like, oh, maybe.
Because then you have nothing on the schedule. You have nothing
to
do to occupy your mind. And then you just have to sit there. And so you're like, if I'm just sitting here, I could just be sitting at work and actually seeing patients or taking care of things. And like, here I am just sitting here and can't do anything.
And they're like, most of the patients were really nice. One guy was really mad because he took off work. And I'm like, oh, yeah, me too. And my whole staff took off work. They're not getting paid.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid. I probably just paid a few $1,000s in medical bills, like, I get it. I promise I get it.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not alone in this. And I know this is not the first time or the last time that I'll probably like face this kind of dilemma.
Yeah. It's really interesting because I almost feel like that was bred into us during residency. And then we expect that of ourselves now. And so now patients expect that of us as well, that we're somehow invincible and that we can just push through and that their health means everything and our health doesn't. But then when you ask them, they're like, of course I want you to take care of yourself. Unless it's inconvenient for me.
Of course.
But then I was talking to a friend of mine who was retired from clinical medicine and is doing more on the insurance side. And she works less than she was working, making probably the same amount of money. And she has days that she's off. And the people that she works with are so flexible and so helpful and so like everybody, it's like, oh, I've got this play for my kid that I need to go to. And everybody's like, great, have fun, enjoy, we'll see you back. And everybody makes it work with their time, right? And so I know I have to get this amount of stuff done. And so I can still get it done, but I can still take like 2 hours at lunch and I can come back and I can work a little bit later. And everybody is so much more pleasant because they're able to manage life and be able to work also. But our schedules are so different because we're booking patients out 6-8 weeks for your 4 months, and patients have been waiting a long time and it's so hard because we really do respect their time.
Right.
But we also have to respect our bodies and our health and our longevity.
I think they think we don't. There's so many comments online or little threads online saying things like, my doctor's office charges me if I'm late or if I miss an appointment, but I had to wait this long and maybe I should charge them. And I totally understand the sentiment there, but I was thinking just the other day, I had to go to the bathroom for probably like 2 or 3 surgeries and I was running a little behind, and it was a real thought process. I had to stop myself and go, should I take like 2 minutes? Is it okay if I take 2 minutes to go to the bathroom before this case, or should I push through? And it's kind of getting to the point where maybe you don't want to push through another 45 minutes.
Right.
Like maybe you can't even physically do that. And I still had to like grant myself permission. Like, it's probably okay. Like, they probably won't notice 2 minutes to go to the bathroom. But those are the kind of dilemmas we put ourselves in. And where does that come from? What are these origin stories? And one thought I had, there was this story I had from residency. I was an intern, a non-cat intern, trying to get in to the program. And so I'm working more than anyone. I'm taking more call than anyone. It was the first summer, still kind of figuring out how things work. And so it was my first weekend off call since we started. And so my husband had bought tickets to a Cubs game in Chicago. And so, it was like 3.5 hour drive, but we were going to make a weekend of it. And we were excited. And then I found out that there was a trauma lecture on Saturday morning. And I didn't know that we ever had lectures on Saturday mornings. I'd never seen that before. Looking back, we maybe did that once a year. This is not like a typical thing. So I'm just dumb. I'm naive. I don't know that can even be a possibility. So that week I found out, make sure you're there on Saturday for this trauma lecture. And so I went to the attending who was putting it on, and all I said was, hey, what time do you think this thing gets over? Because my husband bought Cubs tickets, and I'm just wondering if he should go with a friend. And he got so offended that I wasn't just like, my whole life is revolving around this trauma lecture, that he went and talked to the program director and said, what do you want me to do with this request? Well, it wasn't a request.
No.
I wasn't requesting anything but information. I just wanted to know what time so I could plan.
Yeah.
I was not even like apologetic about giving the tickets away. I just wanted to know so I knew what to do. Was it going to be done at 10 or was it going to be done at 3? And we were so offended that then I was in trouble. And I got brought into the principal's office and I got scolded and I got chided for my lack of commitment. And if I want to get into this program, I got to show that I'm committed. And how dare you ask for time off? It doesn't look good. I'm like, I never asked to not be there. I never hinted in any way that I wasn't going to be there. I just wanted to know.
And it's not time off. I'm not scheduled to be on call, and it's not a scheduled like clinic day. I'm not asking to be off. I just had.
But they own you. Like it feels like they own you, and so that's just one of many stories where, well, no wonder I didn't know if I could take time off when I broke my back.
Right.
Because it's been beat into you time and time again that you don't matter. Your life doesn't matter. Your health doesn't matter. And I remember the only time I ever went home sick was because I was like puking my guts out and everyone was worried about getting some GI bug from me. So let me go home. Like 2 hours early, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I shame myself on one end. Erin, what's messed up about you that you can't give yourself permission? I feel bad. I feel guilty if I do, and I feel guilty if I don't. Well, no wonder.
Yeah. Well, and I remember too in residency, it was like you're on call, right? And so as dental residents, we weren't under the same ACGME rules, technically.
Right.
They pretended like we were, so we still had to log our hours into that little thing, but we were told to lie about our hours.
Right.
So because you would get, well, not really lie about, but you would get an error that said, well, that you've worked over the 80-hour work week. And so you had to go back in and change it. And one time I didn't go back in and change it. And I was like, yeah, that's what I worked. I worked 110 hours this week and I'm going to put it in there. And I got in trouble for it.
No,
anyway.
You absolutely get in trouble for it.
And so then,
even if you try to be honest,
right?
Yeah,
and then
you get taken
it's like
down.
You're there for a 24-hour call, in-house call, and you admit something, and it's gonna go to the OR that day. And so instead of being off, well, you're off call now. But then, if this case posts at, because you're on call from 7 a.m. to 7 a.m., right? And then let's say the case posts at noon, or the case posts at 10, or the case posts at 4. It's like you're not, quote unquote, expected to be there. But I remember so many times, either it was a really good case and I wanted to be there.
Right.
Or like it was like I was so tired and I needed to go home, and they're saying, well, this is an opportunity that you're going to miss out on, and it's your patient that you admitted. And in our program, we always did clinic the next morning, and so we would always have surgeries that next day. And then we would go home at noon, right? And then, or we didn't, because we would be missing out on an opportunity, And so I think that in and of itself is like, this breeds this FOMO of, you're going to miss out, and how dare you drop this in our laps, and then we're going to have to do all the paperwork.
Yeah.
Whatever it was,
our program was not that way. It was very much like when you're off call, you go home. Like, don't stay for the extra case, unless you're like already in it. And even then, a lot of times they were good about like sending you home. But it was, if you were there on a weekday, and it doesn't matter if you'd been up for 24 hours straight, you still got to be there till at least 5 p.m. the next day. So like 36-hour shifts were not unusual. And it kind of becomes a pissing match of who
can handle it.
Handle it the most.
Yeah.
I've only had one granola bar in 36 hours and 20 minutes of sleep. But I've had 4 Red Bulls, and it's become like this comparison thing. And I just remember thinking it was so weird that people who are supposed to value health and be teaching health and helping people achieve health have this toxic mentality around themselves and our peers. I just thought, boy, it just doesn't match up. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
then
think,
don't even talk about the mental health side of it.
yes, do not. Yeah. So then I had a really funny experience a couple weeks ago. One of my friends is an endodontist and is a practice owner. And I was like trying to meet up with him, I guess, to, deliver avocados or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to drop them at his office, which is closer to my house than his house is to my house. And I was like, okay, I can come by. And he's like, oh, I actually canceled my day today. I went out with my like co-owner, partner, whatever. And we had a little bit too much to drink and I feel terrible today. And so I canceled my patients. And all I could think was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I like,
you did that? Whoa.
And I was like, I even said, I was like, that's amazing that you did that. Because I'm like,
right.
My heart started racing when you said that because I mean, all I could think was like, oh God, the fallout from this is going to be horrendous,
right.
And
I feel like that was kind of a consequence of not such great choices. So I got to punish myself by suffering through.
Right. Yeah. Like I should have known better and I shouldn't punish somebody else because of my own choices.
Yeah, precisely. Well, even when I had my twins, I worked almost up till the day of the delivery. I did have to take a week or two off at maybe 32 weeks because I was in preterm labor, and luckily we were able to stop that. But other than that, I worked all the way up until the day my water broke was like the day I'd gone to work. So I felt like I gave my all. And then they wanted me back at 4 weeks. And I said, no, I can't come back at 4 weeks. Like I almost died in delivery, premature birth. I got these preemie twins. We're still checking them out for these health issues.
Mm-hmm.
We're hardly like even feeding. I'm not sleeping at all.
Right.
There's no way I can come back at 4
No.
weeks. And they were really pushing it and they were very mad and they were laying on the guilt trip thick. The patients in the community and our staff, they just need you so much. And luckily at that point I was like, I can't. I have a doctor's note that says I can't. And the state of Iowa says I'm allowed 6 weeks. I put my foot down.
Yeah.
But then I was fired for it later.
Right.
Retaliation for doing that. And,
yeah.
and
So
I
again,
feel
it builds that same guilt, right? It builds it because you're like,
I mean,
can't do that again. I got fired last time.
Practice comes first.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that, I'm still bleeding and
not sleeping. Like, how can you take good care of anybody if you're like...
And I was commuting 75 miles each way, and that was a big concern is just, can I safely drive to work every day? Because I'm not sleeping at all with preemie twins that don't eat, and I'm trying to pump and nurse and bottle feed. Like, it'd take me a full hour to feed each baby, and then I'd start over the next hour with the next baby. It was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have to wrap your car like a murder vehicle, right? You're bleeding and pumping and all kinds of things are happening, but you still got to drive 75 miles each way. And so, if you stop, that's an extra however much time. So you can't do that either.
It's tough. That's a hard transition. And I always tell postpartum moms, you're going to feel like you need to go back, but you just never get that time back. You never get those moments back with your baby.
Yeah.
You never have that time to heal. Like, childbirth is so crazy. It's a one time where you have like maybe one of the biggest procedures in your life, or you go through one of the most life-threatening situations most women will go through. And on top of it,
hormones.
Like when I had my tummy tuck, people were taking care of me and I wasn't required to do anything. But it's like times two with the C-section. And now not only do you have to recover, but you got to be up 3 to 4 times a night taking care of someone else.
Yeah.
That's asking a lot. And then add going back to your practice on top of that too early.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really just very interesting how we've created this problem for ourselves, like, and it perpetuates until we don't let it. And then we get fired. And then, and then we worry about that
we've been primed. We've been primed. It's a calling. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, the calling of medicine, because when it's a job, if you go to your job and you clock in 8 to 5, I feel like you could like pat yourself on the back and go home and have a beer and put your legs up, And not that I drink beer, but that's what I'm imagining.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe a salary, maybe they require a little bit more, but as long as your boss is happy with the work you're doing and you're like hitting your metrics, and maybe you get to go home. But like the calling, it's your whole personality. It's who you are. How can you put that down? You can never put that down.
Right.
And someone was talking on one of the Facebook forums about how their patient had maybe a complication. It sounded even like some swelling, and they went to the ER and then they got like admitted to the ICU, and then
I saw that.
The plastic surgeon got called in to drain them, and then they didn't even drain anything, and you're half wondering if it's even really infection, because anything in the mouth is like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
you're
2 days
like
after surgery,
2 days
but
post-op,
it's
so
an
of course you're
infection.
swollen, right?
Yeah. So she's kind of wondering, and then she even said, like, that's what I get for going on vacation. I feel like I can't go on vacation.
No, it was to a family
anymore.
wedding. It wasn't even vacation. It was just
Is
like
that what
out
it
of town
was?
for a wedding. Yeah.
And
it
I was like, you're allowed
to
to take vacation. We're allowed to go to family events. And patients, there's always going to be patients. There's always going to be someone who has some kind of complication or something going on. And we can't control that, but we care, and we take more of that on than we need to.
And, I thought a lot about that too, because the other thing was this hospital privileges thing. Like we're supposedly required to have hospital privileges or have a transfer of care through the board, right? But this patient, this doc had hospital privileges, but the patient went to a hospital where she doesn't have privileges. And so even if she was there, she can't go and, see her own patient. And so she's then stuck to the phone because she's so concerned that like what's going to happen. She's talking to the patient's mom and like so concerned about like what care they're getting and wants to know what the labs say. She doesn't have any access to any of this information, and trying to get one of the attendings or the residents on the phone is sometimes hard. And then it's like all of that to say she's done everything right, but like she's still worried about getting a board complaint. She's still worried about getting sued. She's still worrying about who's going to pay all of these hospital bills. I can't even take care of my own patient because she's at a different hospital. And if you transfer care to another hospital, then it's a whole other expense. And it's just like, it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense.
Well, and you can see why we make the choices we do and feel like we have to take it on, because there's just enough negative pushback that makes it uncomfortable enough that it's hard to stick up for ourselves. And even when I decided to go in and get checked for my back, I was sitting at the front desk and I was like, okay, we should probably cancel at least the next few patients. I'm not feeling too good. I should probably go get checked, and maybe someone can drive me. And we're like, when's the next patient coming in? And then right then, ding, 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 the door. She walks in and we're like, man. And my nurse is standing there and she says, we're so sorry. We were hoping to see you today, but doctor's not feeling well. And so we're going to have to reschedule. We're really sorry about that, but we'll try to find a time to accommodate you. And she was clearly annoyed for good reason.
Right.
And she says,
I understand.
To call me? No one could let me know. This is the first time hearing. And I'm sitting right there. I was fine, like, raise my hand. I am so sorry. I'm the doctor, and I was on my way to work when I got hurt, and I'm like going to the ER now. So I was really hoping and planning to see you, but I don't even feel safe like in my own body right now. So I really appreciate you being patient. She was kind of like taken aback and, oh, well, sorry, but she still seemed annoyed. Then we luckily somehow, even though I booked out forever, got her in the next day. I'm in clinic. And then everyone's trying to keep my privacy, but I'm like, basically like, girl, I broke my back. And then suddenly she's like, oh my gosh. And, she like was understanding in that moment, but I felt uncomfortable. I felt bad. I didn't like disappointing the patient. That was uncomfortable. And disappointing the patient and having to figure out how to reschedule them is enough pushback that I'd rather come and work through a sore back.
Yeah.
That's honestly what it comes
also
down
like
to.
if it's egregious enough, then they'll understand.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Like I broke my back as opposed to like I sprained my pinky. But like, can you imagine? Like one time when I got hand, foot, and mouth and from my kiddo, and my palms hurt so bad. But it wasn't like, I mean, I could push through it. but it wasn't like egregious enough, like breaking your back, that I could be like, I really am having a hard time retracting with my Minnesota because my palms are on fire and every little part of it that I touch hurts so bad. It's like knives going through my hand the whole time. But you just push through it because it's like not enough to like make people.
Do patients want someone with that, with their hands in their mouth, you know? That's a contagious disease.
Thank you.
But again, they still are calling the COVID team in to treat the COVID patients, you know? Like, well, now I'm remembering I blocked this from my brain, and maybe we've talked about this already, but when I was sick a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, with GI disturbance, and again, it's like, you wake up at like just that 5:30 a.m. like, well, maybe I'll be okay before work. So I'm texting my nurse, just so you know, I'm feeling terrible and I'm right by the toilet. I'll let you know. And then like, I don't think I'm going to make it. Let's cancel the first couple patients. And maybe I'm okay now. Took some Zofran. So I go in and I see a few patients and it seems like I'm okay. And then I literally poop my pants at work.
Like, I thought I was okay, but on second thought, or actually number 2, I'm not.
Been in the hospital, I could have like taken a shower and changed, but like I don't have another pair of scrubs. I should keep a separate pair there now. I should learn my lesson, but I was like, I don't know what to do. Like clearly I should go home and get changed, but that's going to take like 45 minutes to an hour, and I'm already stacked with some patients, and luckily someone hadn't really been answering. And so I just said, leave a message, tell them not to come. And if they show up, we just say, sorry, we tried to call you. And that's why I still had 2 patients on deck. So I went in the bathroom and I threw my underwear away and I like cleaned myself up as the best as I could. And then I was wearing a gown and I was just like, please don't be able to smell me. And I went in and did the friendliest, fastest consults I've ever done in my entire life. And I don't think they knew any wiser, but like, that was terrible.
Yeah.
And that was clearly like, you should not have been there, Erin. Like,
right. Yeah.
But I'm still asking, I broke my back. She's okay. Should we cancel clinic? I don't learn my lessons. I don't. They're too ingrained.
I know.
It's who I am. It's my calling. Show up no matter what.
Yeah. So here's a question for you, speaking of your back, because Carrie and I just did that episode about opioid addiction. You know, the biggest takeaway that I had from it is like, these people aren't addicts, right?
Yeah.
If they had never been introduced to this, would they have continued down the addict pathway, or would they have been just fine human beings? And so it's really hard for somebody who's never experienced an injury, but now that you've experienced something that like clearly throws people into the chronic pain category, you can really see how it can happen, right? Because your back may be feeling better, but you've got these other sequelae that are creating significant pain and significant alteration of function and inability to live your daily life. And if you have this easy help button that does make you feel better, it's really hard to not see how that can be.
Yeah.
How that can
I've been nervous about that.
Yeah.
They gave me like 30 hydrocodone and 30 tramadol at the same time. Like, choose which one you like, which I just thought was crazy that they could give me 2 at once.
Right. Do you think that they did that because you're a doc, or do you think that that's what they do?
I don't know. I bet it's kind of what they do. Like, they're just like, this is going to hurt really bad for a long time. But I will say, I wasn't taking it very routinely, partially because I'm just a little nervous. And then it just wasn't working that well.
Yeah.
I'm having like really bad cramping pain, but it's not like acute, like throbbing, stabbing, aching pain that you normally think about. And so I would be taking, like, I worked the whole day. My first day back, I worked and I was okay mostly through the day. I obviously wasn't taking any narcotics. And then I got home and it was like, maybe I'll take something. And then once I did, it was like, thank goodness. Like, I didn't realize how much pain I was having, but then I had to take a second one for it to touch me, you know? And so it wasn't that effective. And then I started having headaches and my back's been feeling okay. And I started on a muscle relaxant, and that helped so much. Like the crampy back pain like went down significantly. It was a total miracle. It's like you have to have the right drug for the problem.
Well, and we're not even diagnosing what the actual problem is. What's causing the cramping? What's causing the headaches, right? It's just like, here's just a centrally acting pain medication. And then just wipe everything out.
So I'm having headaches that have just been ramping up since then. Intractable tension and migraines. It's been terrible. It's been putting me out. And so I have all these medications at
will.
At my disposal.
Yeah.
I can use them. And I'm going, I would never take hydrocodone for a headache.
Right.
And my back is feeling okay. It's like a 2, 3, 4. So I don't really feel like I need that. But do I take it for this headache? Because this headache's killing me. Then I'm taking it for my headache and it's not touching it. I'm taking 2 narcotic. It's not touching it. I'm like loading up the muscle relaxant and 2 narcotic and the NSAIDs, and then I'm getting gabapentin. Like I'm layering layer on layer and layer and layer, which is kind of scary polypharmacy. And I'm getting no relief, but I'm thinking it's so easy to be like, well, it's there. And I've had even some moments like, well, I'm kind of just tired of being in pain and it's not terrible, but like maybe I should take it because it's there.
Yeah.
I can see how you just get into trouble. And my husband, his oral surgeon, before he met me, had an implant placed, and he was a pretty prominent, well-known guy in the area, and he ended up having some problems with his back and got hooked on narcotics. And then they figured out he was siphoning medication from sedations from patients because they're all like, how come none of our patients are sedating?
Yeah.
How come everyone's awake? And they like finally figured that out. So he got the slap on the wrist and wasn't able to do sedations for a year is what I was told, but still practicing. And then had more problems and ended up in jail. And here's this respected doctor in our community. And again, you can see how easy it would be to start. You have this real problem, and then it turns into this snowball effect of something much bigger than it ever started. And that's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like we were talking about with Carrie. It is so life shattering for like not just the person, but everyone in their sphere.
Yeah.
It's, and especially somebody like that, because that affects our whole profession, right? I mean, because we've all heard it and we've heard it multiple times. And then it just is, it's just terrifying to me that somebody that knows better can do that because their pain is so great.
Yeah. Well, and you wonder too, again, just with the achievement philosophy and the culture of not telling people you need help and always look like you're okay and to be that like person, that pillar for everyone else, not getting help when you need it, not like being vulnerable and being able to kind of look at yourself and get the help you need. And those pressures, like, well, I could see it'd be like, my patients need me, but my back is killing me. I'm just going to like take an oxy and see if we make it through, and that's when you get in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just think that it's like Carrie and I were saying, we just have to find a better way forward. And I think it's getting better now that more light has been shown on it. But I don't think that we have good solutions. I mean, and you've demonstrated that to me in this like last week and a half. I thought we'd gotten better, and then I'm like, we haven't gotten better. And so,
well, and I finally went in over the weekend, and again, giving yourself permission to get help. Abe had been gone at some like men's conference for like Friday evening until midnight. And then he like left early until like the middle of the day. And he came home and he's like, how are you? And I've had this killer headache since the last time I saw you. I'm taking all these things. It's not touching it. I feel terrible. I feel sick. This is awful. And he's like, do you want to go into the acute care clinic? And I was like, what? Like, what? I guess I could. And part of it's because I just been there, like how many times can you go to the doctor in a week? But okay, yes, let's go. But then the funny thing is he was like doing dishes and stuff. And I'm like thinking we're walking out the door. And I was like, finally, just take me. Now that I decided I want help, I'm like ready. Please just take me there.
Yeah.
And then it's, well, should we get a CT scan? That seems like kind of a lot. And it's probably just, tension and, the injury and stuff. But okay, let's do it. And I got an IV infusion of some meds and started on more medications. And I don't know, it helped a little bit, maybe. Still feeling terrible. So then I went into neurology, and one of the docs was so nice and got me in last minute. And so they're starting me on nortriptyline, but that takes like 6 weeks to ramp up. So what do I do in the meantime?
Yeah.
He gave me a migraine bailout, but that's not touching the tension part of my headaches, which is the worst part of it. So I can see how people kind of take matters into their own hands sometimes. And they're taking me very seriously also.
Right.
I mean, that's a whole other thing of people whose pain gets discounted and have to find their own ways to manage. But that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think we can do? Is there anything we can do? Maybe we're too small to really change the culture of medicine, but what can we do in our own lives to feel like we can have permission? How do we stop this from happening? Because clearly I haven't learned my lesson. It happens way too frequently.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how we do it. As I'll say this, because we've talked about this before with my little panic attack things or whatever it was that I had back in dental school. And when I realized this isn't worth it, right? Like the stress that I'm putting on myself to do great on this test, all of that, it's not worth it. Like I don't need to be a dentist. It's fine. If I can get by with studying less, that's what I'll do. And if I can't get by, then I wasn't meant to be a dentist, right? And so I think that establishing that boundary early on gave me permission. Now, it doesn't mean that it's easy. It means that I know where that can spiral to if I just keep people pleasing and doing what I think that other people expect of me. But that's not sustainable for me. And if I don't set my boundary now, people will just expect that I'll keep giving and giving and giving, and I can't. Because I won't make it. And so I think for me, that's what I did. And I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like I may miss out on opportunities and I may miss out on something great or cool or whatever it is. But if it means that I can hang out with my kids or that I can live 5 years longer, or if I can, have time to breathe, then great. That's what I'll do.
Well, that reminded me, I've heard from 2 different people. Have you heard this? 2 different people told me that I think they said the 6th dentist in Colorado Springs or the Denver area, I think it was Colorado Springs, like took their own life. And I don't know in what time period to talk about, this year or something terrible. But I had 2 different people bring that up to me. And I feel like doctor self-harm is definitely something, I don't know if it's more on the rise or we're just talking about it a little more, but I can totally understand this idea that it sounds safer and easier to take away your life than to just take away that part of your life, the doctor part. And that's crazy. Like we can't put that down. So the only option is to leave altogether. And that's so sad. If anyone feels that way, if you're listening, please reach out to us. We would love to talk to you and talk you through anything that you're going through. I know we both have had times that have been dark and we've been there, or please find someone else to talk to. But I see you. I can understand that mentality, which is kind of sad, but I get it. It's so hard to put it down. And it just feels like
so many people are relying on you.
So it'd be better for me to go than to just maybe take a break, take a week off.
Yeah, because again, people understand egregious. They don't understand like gentle boundaries. They don't understand, well, I'm going to go work 3 days a week instead of 5 because I'm not doing well. They're like, but we have patients. You have to pay the bills. You have to pay the staff. What are you going to do? What's your staff going to do if you're not there? And they're not going to get paid. And you have to consider them because they have families too. And it's this whole thing. But if like that's the thing is it's fine.
Yeah. You don't have to keep doing this if you hate it.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It feels like you do, though, so much of the time. I think for me, it's so important to have scheduled breaks. And I travel a lot, and I think that's part of it is just me choosing myself first. And the more I take that time off, the easier it gets. But when I get into trouble, it's that acute thing. It's that
'Cause you've gotten into
same
tunnel
of the
vision.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where it's hard, and I'm still practicing on that.
Yeah, and I think taking those breaks, it really enables you to, like, take a 50-foot view, give yourself some perspective, look around a little bit, because I think especially with what we do, we are, like, in it, right? And patient management is really difficult, and we expect a lot of ourselves, we expect a lot of our staff, we expect patients to like us, whatever it is. But I think taking time away gives you so much perspective, and enables you to give yourself permission, because you look around you and you're like, look at all these other people. They're living their lives and they're fine.
Yeah. Well, and that's a big part of the retreat that the doctors all in
Yeah.
that, I founded, is just giving yourself permission to show up for yourself, because we're not allowed to do that. And that's what this is all about. It's about coming and filling your cup so that when you go back, you're better capable of not just taking care of yourself and others. But I hear these messages so often. One of the women there was talking to a friend who was there this last time, and the friend was like, "This resort is amazing. I wish I could stay even longer. I came a day early. Next year, I'm coming 2 days early, probably. It's so wonderful. And next time you need to come on Thursday, because it starts Friday afternoon, Friday evening." And she said, "There's no possible way I could justify taking Thursday off." And we were both like, "Girl, you can justify it.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
You probably, because you say that, you probably absolutely need to."
Yeah.
So I'd encourage people to think about what you really need and to flex that muscle and to practice choosing you. Practice blocking off some time. It's usually time is what we really need, right?
Yeah.
But practice saying yes to yourself as many times as you can so that you stretch that muscle, because that's not a muscle that we've really been allowed to
And
use.
also practice saying no to others.
That too.
That's really hard and really important skill to have, because if you keep saying yes, people just expect, I found this in the Navy, people just keep giving you more and keep giving you more and keep giving you more, right? And you look around you and you're like, everybody else is going home at 2. I'm here at 6. What happened here?
Exactly.
And then you've got the people that are like, well, that's just because your job is an oral surgeon. And so if you want to promote, you're going to have to, and I had my XO tell me this, if you want to promote, you need to take on those other jobs, and you're just going to have to take care of that after working hours. And I was like, nope. I guess that means I'm getting out, because I'm not interested, because I've got kids, I've got a family, I've got other things. And I'm like looking at all of these other people that are promoting and doing all this stuff, and then they're leaving before even like working hours are over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not actually going to happen. So you can find another oral surgeon.
Similar advice. My partner's been out sick on medical leave now for probably 9 months, and we're backed up so long, and there's so many people trying to get in. I can't get all the people in at the time they want to be seen, and people are falling off this, like referrers are going other places and things like that. But one of the docs I know is like, well, you're just going to have to work more hours so that you can accommodate the patients. And yeah, logically, okay, that would accommodate more patients, but there's always going to be more patients.
Yeah.
There's always weeks and weeks. Like I was booked out weeks and months before, and now I'm booked out even more months.
Right.
But there's always more patients. There's always someone trying to utilize your time, to take your time. And that's not serving me. That's not taking care of me. And so I'm trying to push back on that. I picked up a few more hours here and there, but really, just because there are more patients doesn't mean I have to sacrifice myself on the altar of martyrdom.
Right. There's also an oral surgeon that is actively trying to get to your practice to help you see those patients. But here we are still trying months later.
I was like, my back is hurt. Wouldn't this be a great time for Sarah?
Yeah. That's supposed to be there next week. No problem. Okay. Hi.
Hopefully next month, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think this is something we're going to continue to work on. And it's definitely a mantra of mine that I'm still not practicing what I preach, but I'm getting better. I'm recovering.
Yeah. I am practicing that.
You are.
But it is like, I still have that. When people ask me, oh, are you working? I'm like, well, I've got this and I've got this and I've got this. I can't just be like, no.
You still, I feel like you still have to like make the excuse to yourself. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I see that. Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm working on that. So we've all got things to work on.
We all do.
Yep. All right. Well, here's to giving ourselves permission and setting boundaries and hopefully healing, because clearly your body's trying to tell you something over these last few weeks. It's like, chill the F out, Erin.
Yes, ma'am. Doctor's orders.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining us on another episode of the Resting Stitch Face podcast. We'd love to hear from you and hear how you are able to set boundaries, and give us some tips, give us some hints, and give yourself permission.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.